Hey, Cub, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Look at that mustache. Wow. Are you driving around in vans picking up kids?
Just my own.
Oh, look at her. Hey, she is adorable, man. What's her name?
Thank you. I'm Royal.
Royal. Is it feeding time?
Yeah, I wake her up in the mornings, take care of her for about the first hour, and feed her, change her, do all that stuff, and then Kenda takes over, and then I go to the gym. So it's usually how it works out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how is it being a father impacting your training? I've been seeing some of the stuff on Instagram. Obviously, the work is getting in, but I imagine it's been a bit of an adjustment period as well.
Um, Only a little bit. It's been pretty cool because all the guys at the gym, me, Juan, TJ, Syed, Georgie, we all have young kids, so
Hmm.
we all have that in common and kind of know what each other are going through. And we just go to the gym. We enjoy each other's company. We train hard, and we go home and hang out with the family.
I can never keep track of your gym affiliations. So you and TJ and another gentleman, you have this new gym, the training center, spelled with like a rain in the training, currently in Orange County, as I understand it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, but you used to be in Palm Springs, and you're still affiliated to an extent with Jackson's. So, like, how did you end up in this predicament?
Okay. So I was always living in Palm Springs and, doing my camps out in Albuquerque. I would go back and forth. And I just decided that, I really wanted to get with our strength conditioning coach and guy who was doing our diet, Sam Calvita, with the training lab. And we got the opportunity with me and Juan and TJ to basically start up a gym with him. And and be able to do that full time. And I saw that as an opportunity for some change and uh, an opportunity to not have to leave the state, and leave my family. So, uh, my wife Kenda spent the first pregnancy in Palm Springs in the summer, and I didn't want to do that to her again. So she's pregnant again. So we decided to move out here full time to Orange County and train. I train out here full time, and I don't have to leave the family at all.
Aside from the convenience, has it delivered what you have hoped it would deliver?
Oh yeah. Um, I'm really picking up my wrestling, getting back to my jujitsu, changing up a little bit of my striking. Obviously, bringing out Brandon Gibson that you guys were just talking to. He's been coming out, helping me flow on some things. But I've worked a lot with Dwayne Ludwig. Me and TJ share a lot of ideas. We feel like we both have things that could help each other. Um, and and then Juan Archuleta, he helps me with my wrestling, daily. So I just feel like altogether, I'm just becoming more complete.
I wonder if she agrees. Apparently, she does. Uh, did you
Yeah.
feel like you needed to make a change, like in terms of? No, no, you needed. We were talking. They were there. Brandon was telling me they're sending Carlos Condit up to TriStar to get some new looks. Did you feel like you needed a new look?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I needed I just felt like I needed a change for some growth. And, you know, uh, I love Jackson's. Everybody there is family to me, and they know that. And I didn't leave on bad terms or anything. They kind of understood my situation. And I've been going out there for 8, 9 years. And I felt like I needed to take start a new chapter in my career. And I honestly feel like I'll end my career here at this facility. And with Sam, especially going into my mid to, and then late 30s, I'm 34 now. I felt like I really needed to be as smart as possible with how I'm treating my body and how I'm performing every day. So, I really felt like Sam was my best option. Our strength and conditioning coach, and I just felt like if I want to have longevity in this sport, I need to treat my body right. When it comes to weight cutting, when it comes to strength training, and making sure that I'm good.
What did you identify personally as your biggest area of need?
Uh, just having my game well rounded. You know,
Did you feel like you
sometimes
got
I
away
fall
from
in
that?
love with what. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for a long period of time, I had a bad back, for a long, you know, period in my career, and I didn't want to grapple. I didn't want to wrestle because I had a higher chance of not making it to the fight. And so I did enough to maintain, but then some fights it showed that I lacked in those areas, and I've done a really good job of with the strength training of strengthening my core and getting better and just finding a better ways to do those things.
So you're facing Renato Moicano. This will be the opening bout on the main card at UFC 227. What do you make of Moicano as an opponent?
I mean, I think he does a good job at fighting with his length, and he's pretty quick on his feet, and he's got long range, so he uses that very well. He does get caught up sometimes trying to brawl, but for the most part, he'll stick and move and run and leg kick and kind of play the game, and he does it pretty well, and he's done it to some high level guys, so I got to give him props on that.
What conditions do you have to establish in order to win?
Um, I think I definitely need to check his kicks. I got to cut him off, but I'm not going to be chasing him or anything like that. I think a lot of people have messed up doing that. I think I'll find ways to get him to come to the middle and fight me in the middle.
And a win over him gets you what? I mean, it's a nice win, of course, over a respected name, but beyond that, in your judgment, what's the value in beating him?
Well, I mean, I had a lot of guys calling me out, and he was the top ranked one, and so that was the fight I wanted. I think it's a good fight, and I went over him. I think just gets me another big fight. Not really too worried about the belt right now. I just want big fights, and fun fights at this point in my career.
Like you have no designs on the belt, or not at this moment?
Not at this moment, but if I never fought for the belt, it wouldn't bother me. I've that whole song and dance gets tiring, and it's a lot of playing favorites, and I just I've just had it. I've had it dangled in front of me so many times. I'm just like, whatever, man. Just give me the big fights. Pay me to show up and let me do my thing, and I'll go home and hang out with my family and do my thing.
Do you read anything into the idea that he's a younger guy, up and coming, and you're a little bit, certainly I would not call you old, but a little bit longer in the tooth than some guys, and so the UFC might be saying, hey, let's exchange one guy for the other?
I mean, that's always the point. That's what happened with Duho Choi, and that's how matchmaking works. You go, hey, this guy's on a roll. He's up and coming. Let's test him against this person. So I know the role I'm in right now. Coming off of a couple losses, you get to be the gatekeeper role. So that's fine. I'm just not going to let anybody, build their name off of me.
Fair enough. Now, the other issue sort of involved here is not necessarily that position, but the one that you were in previously. So you fought out your contract, and then the last fight you lost, but you did re-sign with the UFC. And correct me if I'm wrong, I went back and I looked at this. You did get at least some kind of a pay bump, did you not?
Oh, I did, yeah.
So ultimately, I would imagine you'd have no regrets about re-signing with them. But what I would ask you is, if you could go back and do it all over, would you do it the same way?
Yeah, I would. I feel like when it was all said and done, we were able to see eye to eye. It was more than they were initially offering me. I did get some huge offers, but the companies weren't, as stable and things like that. And it was really making me, really think hard. But one of the biggest things is I'm all for USADA. I spent a long time fighting for the company without the major drug testing, and I feel like I wasn't a big fan of that, and so I was thinking in my head, do I really want to be fighting guys that I know are just cheating, and I'm not one to do that. So I was happy to sign back with the UFC and being in a clean sport.
So you think This might be an area where we disagree a little bit. So let's talk about that. Do you believe that USADA is working?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a big fan of yours. I listen to you all the time. You know that. And that's one thing I disagree with you on. I tell
Fair
everybody,
enough.
you know, that's the only thing I disagree with. Yeah, it's a big inconvenience with USADA, and I don't think they're catching everybody. I think there are some people that are getting around it, but for the most part, they are catching people. You know, a lot of the people that are getting caught, everyone's making excuses. Maybe a handful of those people are legitimate, but I doubt it.
Do you mean like the tainted supplement excuse?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing a lot of those. I mean, you're supposed to, you know, be on top of all that stuff. And, you know, with our coach, Sam, everything that we take, you know, he's putting a stamp of approval on. And if we were to test positive, he's basically, you know, putting our whole team like, hey, we all take this stuff, you know, we give it to USADA. This is what we're taking, you know, feel free. And I feel very confident every time they test me. I'm like, yeah, come on, test me. I'm good. I'm clean.
So you basically have a service where you pay to have your stuff tested ahead of time. Is that the idea? The supplements you might take or the food you might take or whatever.
Sam, he runs everything past Jeff Nowinski. You know, he gave him all the list of all the supplements and things that we're taking, and make sure before he gives it to any of us that it's okay before.
Now, does this come at some kind of considerable cost? How do you ultimately arrange for this service?
No, that's just part of the regimen with Sam. Is like he does our strength conditioning, our diet, and our supplements, and he takes care of all that stuff. He's the one that, you know, it has a working relationship with Jeff Nowinski, and make sure that everything that we're taking is legit before we take it.
And
it's by company. It's not like we're doing independent testing or anything like that. It's just we're saying, hey, we're using this company, this product. Do we have the okay on these products?
how bad do you think the steroid problem was pre-USADA? When I say steroid, by the way, I mean not merely steroids, but any kind of banned substance.
I mean, I think it was bad. I was pretty ignorant to it, you know, through my WC days because I came from a smaller gym, I believe. I think, you know, when you get to like the super gyms, there are more people that are helping each other out. And so there's more of a chance that you get to learn about that kind of stuff. I didn't learn about any of that kind of stuff until later in my career, and really finding out like, wow, okay. And it's not like that. There's a difference between somebody taking the smallest amount to like recover, and then a combination of like 10 things to make them just an animal. Some enough to like change the structure of your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The size of your head. You know what I mean? So there's a difference between taking a little bit to recover and then making you just like a robot. And I think that's, you know, I feel bad for them in the long run because I think they'll have a lot of problems down the road. And I think that when they talk about, you know, concussions and things like that, I feel like a lot of people don't take into consideration that it's the concussions mixed with the steroids and what that might do to the brain.
Fair enough. We'll have to discuss this in person because I've got some of my other ideas about it. But you did bring up something separate from this idea that I do think is kind of interesting. You know what I've noticed? Maybe I'm onto something, maybe I'm not. I have noticed that the super gym, as you described, it's not necessarily going away. Wait, what does the caption on your mug say? Coffee makes me poop?
Yeah.
The super gym is not going away, but it is going away for the elite fighter. Every time we have an elite fighter on this show, more and more and more, they're having guys around them, but it's very tailored, it's very delicate, it's very much about them. This idea of let's throw 20 of the best welterweights in a room and we'll just see what happens. I think people are still doing that, but not for the very top guys.
Yeah, I mean, they always said, like, look at boxing, look at what they're doing. And, you know, I spent a lot of time in a boxing gym and I watched the way it goes. and it's you'll see a trainer as another trainer, and then a towel guy, a water guy, and one fighter. You know, there'll be one fighter and 5 assistants, but they were making the kind of money to pay all those people. So I think that was the difference. In our sport, the money's not like that. You'll see 2 coaches in a room with 40 fighters, and I feel like it was all a money thing. I think that when you start making a few $1 million, you can build your own gym and pay those coaches to come and watch every session, and pay training partners to come in. And I just feel like it was simply a money thing.
Why haven't you sent me any samples of your beer yet?
Because my beer is not being made anymore.
What?
I was pretty upset about that. It sold out the first batch they did, and then they kept giving me the runaround. And then the last time I talked to the main brewmaster of the place I was working with, he's like, "Oh, I'm no longer there." And I was like, "All right," but I am getting a Killer Cub cold brew coming out that I will send you.
Okay.
Coffee.
All right. I can deal with that. And before I let you go, I was looking on your Instagram. I see you're here playing soccer, which I'm a big soccer fan too. However, you disgust me, Cub Swanson, because you're wearing a filthy, filthy Juventus jersey, of which I can only say how disgusting. What are you thinking wearing a Juventus jersey?
Man, it's funny. I literally, so my buddy calls me, guys I grew up playing soccer with, and they're like, "Hey, we got a 35 and over league. You want to jump in?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not 35 yet. I'm 34." And they're like, "Yeah, but you turned 35 this year, so you could play." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So both of my brothers decided to jump on. So I just show up and jump on playing with my brothers and all these guys that I went to high school with. They're a little bit older than me. And that's the jersey they gave me. And, I posted a picture, and then people were just, "Yeah, you're a Juventus fan. Oh, screw you." And it was funny how much people were just chiming in on it. And I was like, man, I just showed up and they gave me the jersey. But now that Ronaldo's on the team, it's even crazier. And yeah, so I just like high-level soccer. And I don't really have a team. I always cheer for American teams.
All right. Well, you know what you can cheer for? You can join me and cheer for Real Madrid, the kings of Europe, okay?
All right.
All right, Cub, thank you to your lovely wife for helping out assistance with your very verbal daughter. And thank you for spending some time with us. I really cannot wait to see you compete at UFC 227, and I appreciate your candor, even on spaces where we disagree.
I appreciate you as well. Thanks,
all right.
guys.
Thanks, Cub. Take care.